here for Fright Fest at the 20th edition of the Glasgow Film Festival. We'll get to that in a moment. We need to also bring up that you guys are now officially Lords. Whose idea was that? And are you guys going to be changing your passport, driver's license, IMDb?
I think we should change everything, right? So I told Dave, I was like, we're going to Scotland for Fright Fest. I think we should go proper. I think we need title. So I went and bought them, and I got the deed, and I did the whole thing, and I framed my crest, and it comes with a map of where it is. And so I tell Dave, I'm like, Dave, we got to do this. We have to become lords. So now we are. Both of us are officially
We're lords, yeah.
Lord Capes and Lord Shackelford. So hello.
I've been looking for my square foot now for about 2 days. I can't seem to find it yet.
So when you guys get the call from Spielberg and Scorsese, you'll ask them to address you as Lord Shackelford and Lord Capes.
Absolutely. As soon as we answer, and he goes, "Hey, Mike, it's Stephen." I go, "It's Lord Mike Capes, Stephen. But nice to meet you,
Spielberg.
Mr. Spielberg."
I love the film, but by all rights, something this absurd and this crazy shouldn't work.
Yes.
What was your initial reaction, David, when it got pitched to you?
It was crazy. This was nuts. I read the script and I wasn't sure. Just wasn't sure. It took me a little bit, but I thought about it. I read it a couple of times, and I just thought it was so absurd. I could not pass it up.
I do love the fact that it fully commits to it. It doesn't do it half-heartedly. It commits to the madness of the world that obviously you guys created. How did the idea come about? Was that something from a fever dream?
Shockingly enough, dead sober when it came up, but shockingly, it was one of those 3 a.m. fever dreams in a way. A sober one, but clear. And I had seen it. The way my brain works is I'll just kind of all of a sudden start seeing the visuals. And I woke my girlfriend up at 3 in the morning, and I said, "Hey, wake up! I got something. I see something. I got to pitch this." So she listens to it. And I say, "I want to make a creature feature with absolutely no creature." And I just watched it, and it's a raptor. It's an invisible raptor. And I said, and she goes, "It's quiet." That's quiet. She processes, and then she goes, "Well, that's funny. That's funny." Goes back to sleep. And so then I woke up the next day, and Mike Hermosa had just randomly called me. And I don't think anything's random. Actually, he called me. He really wanted to get together. It was during COVID. I remember I was also hearing Invisible Threat on the news. In the U.S., we had Invisible Threat. There's an Invisible Threat, Invisible Threat. It must have been playing in my head over and over again. And so when I pitched it to Mike and Johnny Wickham, who wrote it with me, I said, "Guys, I want to make a creature feature with absolutely no creature, but I want to go, I want to go big."
That's how you say budget?
Yeah. And I said, "But I want to go big, so it's an invisible dinosaur, and those are very expensive to make. We've all seen Jurassic Park, so if we're going to make an invisible creature, let's go to the top of the chain, the food chain here with apex predator." So we started with Raptor. I think eventually we can grow into some different dinosaurs as we make some sequels.
The T-Rex.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. Oh, we gotta have some invisible. We gotta go through.
I was going to ask you why a raptor, not a T-Rex or something. Is it your favourite dinosaur or a raptor?
I really enjoy them. The raptor sequence in Jurassic Park in the kitchen with the 2 kids, that's one of the first things I kind of visually saw. Not that we did that in this movie, but that was what I saw when that shot behind its ankles and the feet are coming through. I saw that and I was like, gosh, what I need something that's the perfect size to deliver the gags. And get us actors to be able to pantomime it, because I saw us carrying it. And I'm like, well, we got to carry something that's of a size we can carry. So, of course, we do research on how much raptors weigh. And there's a varying, if you're Spielberg Raptors, you could be 800 pounds, some odd 400 to 800 pounds. If you're Raptors, you could be 100 pounds. We picked, because our science all comes from Jurassic Park, we picked somewhere in the middle.
And obviously you guys reference Jurassic Park. You've got Sean Astin, who's got, I think, Dennis's shirt.
Yes.
Or it's very similar.
Yes, he does. As close as we could get. Yes.
Yeah. Were you a bit apprehensive about embracing and making those references? Did that ever come across your mind that you should dial it back or go even more into it?
We leaned real hard. We leaned so hard that when we were writing the script, we ended up making the fictional town Spielberg County, but spelt like Pittsburgh. Spielberg. Yeah, the news guy says Spielberg. Burgh.
You know, we gotta somehow get this movie to Mr. Spielberg.
We gotta get this to Mr. Spielberg.
I think he's gonna get a kick out of it.
Yeah, we leaned. You know, it's funny. Also, a buddy of mine, Derek Connolly, wrote Jurassic World for Spielberg. And he gave notes on the script, which is hysterical. Derek Connolly, the writer of Jurassic World, gave me Raptor notes. I sent him the script.
So
he
cool.
actually gave me a very good jokes. He gave me a couple good jokes in there, too. Derek's a very funny guy. So, yeah, we leaned hard in it. We wanted to. We love references. We love... You know, I don't look at this film as a parody, but in a sense, I think the closest comp I can think of is... Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz. I love that the characters know the worlds exist. We're within our own world, but we can homage and reference all the films we loved, and you know, we wanted to do a nod to everything. Sean Astin was a big thing for this. I don't know if we can put this out, but one of my favorite Easter eggs in the whole film, if I can tell you. You know, you saw he was wearing the whole
white night shirt.
Yeah, the white night shirt. But here's a bigger one. When we had Sean on set, he was day one production. Okay, now we're all first timers, so this was a big deal to have Sean on our day one. And we're in this lab, and the set guys are doing their thing, and we know we have Sean now in the cast. So Johnny and I, my co-writer, we come running up to Sean, and his original character name was Bernie. Okay, because the raptor Bernie's it. We give it Bernie's it.
Yeah.
We go up to Sean and we go, "Hey Sean, would you mind changing your character's name to Willie?" And he thinks about it. His character, the raptor, rips his eyeball out.
Yeah.
So he goes, "One-eyed Willie." Yes. And I'm like, so there we go. Now we got One-eyed Willie. We got a Goonies reference, which is the film that I told my mom at 7 years old when I saw Goonies. I saw it on my birthday, May 19th, 1985. I said, "Mom, I know what I want to do with my life. I want to make movies." Cut to our first film, and we get Sean Astin. So it was pretty wild.
Cool.
And he did the inhaler bit from Goonies. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
what I think is quite important in this film is, you've got the horror, you've got the comedy, but it's got a lot of heart as well. And I think that's what a lot of people gravitate to with this film. How tricky was it to get that balance and keep that as a central part of it?
Great question. I will tell you. Here's a funny thing. Casting between you and I was integral and of so much importance to get that heart. Okay, because at the end of the day, we were writing it's a buddy comedy. Okay, and we had cast Dave 3 weeks before production. He came on, and he came on because a friend had thought of him from acting class you guys took. Our friend Dante Bosco, who played Rufio in Steven Spielberg's Hook, who is also in our film in a very quick cameo.
Yeah, quick cameo.
You'll catch. He's a blink and you'll miss it.
Yeah.
He was day one too.
Yeah, that's right.
So because of Dante Bosco, 3 weeks before production, because we just had to maneuver some things, Dave came on. He kind of came out of retirement in a small way, not a full retirement, but you were off the grid when we called.
Yeah, I was out fishing. I was actually fly fishing.
That's right. That's right.
And for you, David, from a kind of practical point of view, you know, did you have a point of reference? Typically with these kind of films, you'll have like a tennis ball to try and help with your imagination. How did it work in this project?
Oh man, it is just, you know, it's like you know when you're a kid and it's just a complete imaginary, you know, it's just that's it. You just let it go. I mean, there's nothing else you can do.
Like that moment where, you know, you're rejected and you're standing there in your pants.
Oh man. Yeah.
Oh, there's another improv.
Just cried right out the door in that scene. Throw it right out the door. But you know, I felt like I was like a little puppy. It's like a puppy dog, you know, just like I wanted to please my best pal, you know, and it's like that's how I kind of thought came up with the character. It's just like, a little dog that kind of spins around at your feet. He just wants to make you happy.
Yes.
It's like, I've got my best pal here, Mr. Capes, Lord Capes, and like, but
and honestly, like,
and then our breakup.
Our breakup is hard. Oh my God, I cried doing that scene to him, and I'll tell you why. Because I cried when we knew we were going to work together. When we called to say, "Hey, I want you to be in this movie," it was a very emotional moment for both of us, and I was very excited because he's such a loving guy. You could feel it through a telephone call. And then we get to work together, and we're in a lot of 96 pages together. And then we have this scene where I got to be mean, I got to be real, I got to just break him down. And when you're looking in Lord Shackelford's eyes and saying really mean stuff to him, I cried. I literally, it's funny, everybody kind of made fun of me, but I stormed off camera, and the mic was still on, so you can hear me sobbing like a baby because I had to be so mean to this guy.
It was an epic scene. That was a fun scene.
That was a fun scene.
It was a tough scene to do, but it was
tough. Yeah.
That was a good scene.
Yeah.
When you're on the receiving end, are you in the moment as a character?
That's a great question. I think I'd like to say that I'm just in the moment as that character, to try to get to that place. And there are times where you hit that, and there are times where you don't. But I think the takes that we got, you and I both were in as our characters, and that's what you want. I mean, for me as an actor, you want to be able to just lose yourself in something like that. How absurd this crazy thing was, but I think we made it work.
Now, I need to talk about Sandy Martin.
Oh,
yeah, she was phenomenal. How did she get involved in the project? How did you guys like working with, what was her character name, McClucking or something?
Henrietta McCluskey. I'll say that Mike Hermosa, our director, he had worked with Sandy on a previous project, and we had written it for her, and we told Mike, we're writing this character for Sandy. Call Sandy. Sandy reads it. She goes, "Oh God, I love this character. I fucking love this character." and she came out and just, she to me, Henrietta McCluskey is our Beetlejuice to me.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny because kind of not planned. When Beetlejuice comes on the screen and Beetlejuice for the first time, he's in a TV commercial, right? Sandy's in her chicken commercial. And then just every time she's on screen, and by the way, when Mike Hermosa had shared a voicemail that Sandy sent to him about wanting to do this after she wrote the script, and she says, "Mike, I can't wait to play the chicken." She goes, and she did the best chicken clucking I've ever heard, and that was all her in her commercial, And then you two spoke in chicken.
Oh, we did. We spoke in chicken.
Yeah. That almost made the ending. Man. And she loved working with Mike. Came on, and just every time she's on screen, she makes you cackle and laugh, and just, God, she was so great.
Yeah, she's phenomenal.
I love how her character kind of plays on conspiracy theories and that sort of stuff. Is there any conspiracy theories that you guys know is bonkers, but you can't help but be interested in it?
That's a good
I got one. I believe in the what's it called? The butterfly effect. Where because I'm pretty positive Sinbad was in a movie called Kazam or Shazam. Was it Shazam? Yeah, I'm pretty positive I remember that. And then everybody says the Berenstein Bears, the way it's spelled, changed. Have you heard this theory? So the theory is that there were in parallel universes or universes that splintered off, and depending on what universe we have splintered off into, some of us know that Sinbad was in a movie called Shazam. Some of us don't.
I love this part in the movie where you're in Denny's truck. He opens the glove compartment. He's got all these sachets of mail. Do you guys have anything like that in your car? Have you got any weird sweets or things that shouldn't be there that's in there?
I can answer one thing. So Johnny Wickham, my co-writer, I was just driving his truck in Mammoth. I borrowed his Jeep, and I had some friends in it. Now, the way Johnny and I write is I'll write kind of my guy, and he'll kind of write his. So Johnny's part Denny, by the way, and I'm Grant. We kind of share and splinter off, and as we write the characters, and somebody opened Johnny's glove. I think it was Bobby, Bobby Gilchrist, who's also an actor in the film, played Sykes. He opened the glove compartment, and Johnny has cans of sardines, like a bunch of them. Anchovies and sardines in his glove compartment.
Johnny does?
Yeah. I just found this out. And we did the bit. I'm like, that's a lot of sardines. You never know.
Oh, you did it?
Yeah. So Johnny, that's one thing. I personally, I don't have anything.
I don't think, I mean, you open my glove box, my wife just has like literally a stack of coffee sweetener in her glove box.
Is it the little pack, the little pop
packets,
opening guys?
Yeah, little packets. Everywhere.
Just collecting them from Starbucks and every other coffee place.
Hey, you never know. How about you? Do you have any?
Yeah.
Pens.
Pens.
You just keep collecting them and storing them? Yeah.
And then I don't have any pens, and I don't know where they are. It's because they're in the glove
They're all
compartment.
in the glove box.
So every time, do you have a pen on you right now?
I've got 5.
You're a pin man.
Because I keep forgetting, and I need to buy more, and then it's a vicious cycle.
Right. That's hilarious.
Do you lose stuff? On it?
Yes, I lost my my AirPods in the house for 2 weeks.
Oh.
So I was using the track your phone stuff.
Yeah.
I was convinced it was in my neighbour's garden. I was then convinced that it was in my garden, and then like a pigeon picked it up and put it in my neighbour's garden. I was convinced that someone stole them, and then they were on top of my old Sony Vaio and my desk drawer, just sitting there. I was looking at my Ring doorbell, looking at my hands to figure out when did I have my AirPods to try and create a timeline of events.
Were you going through the footage of looking?
We need a true crime series just based on him losing his AirPods.
Stuff.
I think it was driving my wife even more mad than me. Just one final question. Are you guys ready to do the dance at Fright Fest? Have you got the Dino suit packed? Have you got the CD?
Gosh, I wish.
Oh man, that would be
so
good.
wish.
Bring the giant Dino
Dino suit.
I don't think I'll ever wear that thing ever again. Maybe I would do it for the sequel. I might do it.
Oh yeah, we might have to bring that back. Yeah.
But
gosh,
man, living in that thing.
We had a guy in Mammoth dressed up as it. We brought it out to Mammoth.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, some guy dressed up as an actor. Pop in and do that. Poor Dave. He hated that suit so much, but I'll tell you why. Because those nights in the back of that pickup truck, you had to wear that thing. And by the way, we were in this film when we were filming. LA had its hottest day on record ever.
Yeah.
Granted, you luckily weren't in the suit that day because we had a stunt dancer. Stunt dancer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Now Dave can dance, by the way. This guy can dance, and we had a whole scene, and I wish it made the movie. I almost wanted to put it at the end credits, but we had too many written tags. Dave did a full MC Hammer dance.
Oh, that's right.
Full on in MC Hammer pants. Because there was a flashback to when Denny gets pants as a kid.
Maybe that'll be in the deleted
God, it's gotta be. So we shot the whole flashback, remember? And Dusty Peters' hands grab your pants and and he has this whole terrifying moment. We shot all that, and this guy can dance. But we had to have a stunt girl in the suit that day because there was a whole choreographed dance that I had to learn with her, and then they brought her in. That was the hottest day on record in Los Angeles. The following same location, 3 days later, the biggest monsoon we've ever had in Los Angeles. We had a full monsoon at Dino World that night. Yeah. And then we went to absolutely staggering, freezing cold weather in the back of that truck. And our whole pickup truck sequence, we spent 5 or 6 days.
That's the only time I was happy to have that suit on.
Yes. But he had to wear tighty whities underneath.
And of course, I need to ask you about the action figure. Are you getting calls from Mattel and Hasbro?
Yes.
Are deals being made as we speak?
Yeah, so it's crazy because we made the film first, made the action figure. Now Mattel's calling because Barbie was such a huge success that they want to turn now our action figure into a movie. Margot Robbie's going to play the Invisible Raptor in that one. Yeah, gosh, I wish. I hope these things get out to people because they're so fun.
It's so good. Yeah. People got to see it.
And we got to sign them. We got to sign these suckers,
That's right.
Somebody, one of the guys here at Fright Fest, one of the guys' son's already a fan of this, and he asked me if you and I can sign one to give to his son. So we're going to do that for him.
You could do a Roman numeral 1 on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do it.
Yes. Good call. Good call.
And then you'll know that's the original.
That's the original.
Well, guys, thank you so much for your time. Best luck with the films release and enjoy.
We're honored to be a part of this, man.
Yeah.
We're so honored to be here. It's so cool.
Honored and great.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey you guys!
Hey, you guys!